Hey guys, hope you're having a fantastic day. Today I'm about to tell you all the basics and all the complications about IELTS Academic Task 1. Today we're going to look at what typically you need in a Task 1 and of course some background to it in order to better understand what the examiner is looking for. So let's get to the point. Once again, this session is being brought to you by HZad Education. We are one of the leading companies in Canada, UK, Australia, and USA in English teaching, IELTS preparation, CELPIP, CELBAN, and many other courses. I will be providing some more information at the end of the video about our classes, and we'll leave some links in the description for you guys to contact us and get sessions like these and more. Alrighty, so let's get started. In IELTS Academic Task 1, basically, well, let's say writing is for two tasks, of course, Task 1 and Task 2. Task 1, you're supposed to spend 20 minutes on it. Task 2, you're supposed to spend 40 minutes on it. I'm saying the word supposed because you are given 1 hour to write the Task 1 and Task 2, but it's always a much better idea to spend 20 minutes on Task 1 and 40 minutes on Task 2 instead of spending 30 minutes each. Why that's the case is for two reasons, which is important to understand. Number one is Task 1 requires between 150 to 170 words. Once again, I want to stress this, that the word limit is any limit. Like, you just have to write more than 150, but of course you cannot write 500 words. So an ideal limit is to finish in between 150 and 170 words. Okay, task 2 obviously is 250 words, so that's why we have a different time division. The other thing is task 1 scores less than task 2, so you don't need to pay it that much attention. Your task 2 is more important, and we'll be covering the structure of task 2 in another video. For now, let's talk about task 1 more. There are between 4 to 5 paragraphs that you can write in task 1. And these 4 to 5 paragraphs, they can be different with each type of question that we face. We're also going to do some videos on each type of question. By each type of question, I mean the line chart, the bar chart, the pie chart, etc. There are 6 of them in total, 6 main types of charts in IELTS Academic. I'm going to mention all 6, and I'm going to start with the most important one first. The most important one is the line chart, since it comes very frequently in the exams, especially in these years 2015, 2016, and 2017. So line chart is the most important one, and the second one is the bar chart, which of course is also very popular. There is a little debate among people as to which one we should practice more. Some people say bar chart is more important, but from my experience and from what I've seen in my 15 years of teaching among students, is that nowadays there's a bigger trend and a more popular trend towards line charts. So practice more line charts. Number 2, bar charts. Number 3, pie charts. Number 4, table. Number 5, you get your process. And number 6, you get your map. So I paused a little bit between 5 and 6, process and map, because both of them are almost the same level of importance. I see map 5 times maybe in 2 months, or I'll see a process maybe 5 or 6 times in 2 months. So it's almost the same ratio, but again, they fall at the bottom of the ladder. All right, today we are going to discuss the 5 paragraphs. Not 4, we're going to discuss the 5 paragraphs for task 1 writing. Okay, and we're not going to go specifically in the line chart, bar chart, or pie chart because we will do that on another day. However, I will put up an example here for a bar chart to show you guys how it would be done based on this general idea of the task 1 writing for the 5 paragraphs. So if you guys are making notes, this is going to be very useful. We'll start with paragraph 1. Paragraph 1 is paraphrasing. So in this paragraph, you paraphrase the question. What I mean by this is you're going to say the same question that's written on your question sheet. You're going to write it down again, but in different words. So you can maybe switch the what do you call it, the words around. You can mix it around. For example, if the question says the chart shows the GDP in 1990 and 1992, maybe you can say the chart shows data in 1990 and 1992 about the GDP. So what we did here was we just moved the position of the words. So that's one step. The second step is to make a good, how do I say it? It's basically to change the vocabulary, and to change the position was already step one. So now with the position already changed in step one, now you need to change the vocabulary. So instead of saying the chart, you say the graph, okay, or the picture. Instead of saying shows, you say portrays. Instead of saying the data, maybe you can say information. Instead of saying GDP, maybe you can spell out the entire thing, gross domestic product. So change up the question and then use that as your first paragraph. Now you guys can imagine that it's only going to be one sentence in this first paragraph. Again, this was paraphrasing the question, paragraph one. Now paragraph two, you guys want to write it down as the overview. Okay, in the next videos I'm going to make, I'm going to talk about the overview a lot, so make sure you write that down on your notes. Paragraph 2 is the overview, where we give a very important picture of the whole chart. I don't mean that you're going to say anything general. Okay, make sure you remember that. Don't say anything general. For example, if the chart shows increases or decreases in numbers overall, you're not supposed to mention that. You're not going to say the chart increases throughout the years or decreases throughout the years or remains consistent throughout the years. This is a very common mistake. This you will see in other model answers, but it's not something that the examiner likes. Why? Because it's a very general idea. You want to give a more specific idea. Definitely, we talk about increases, we talk about decreases, but things like we can see them and they will strike us right away. For example, if I see the highest point of a chart, I want to mention that. If I see the lowest point of a chart, I want to mention that. If I'm seeing the years 1990 to 1994, it's consistent. Then 1996 to 2000, it's consistent. I'm not going to mention that. But between 1994 and 1996, if I see that there was a major fluctuation, I have to mention that. So these are the things which you will notice are different, which have a very, like you will see them and you will say that, wow, this is important. This is unique. This is something that is maybe standing out from the other information. Okay, so remember never to mention anything general. Don't just say it increases or the numbers are big here, the numbers are down here. Show the examiner that that you have analyzed it. Show the examiner that you can see, okay, here the chart all of a sudden becomes constant, or here there was a drastic increase, or here there was a dramatic fall. This is also going to be only two sentences. So a typical overview would be maybe something like from 1990 to 2000, the level of, let's say, rainfall, for example, the level of rainfall increased or sparked. Afterwards, it became constant. Period. So this is the full stop. And the next sentence could be some other trend. Maybe you could say, on the other hand, the point where the rainfall stopped was in the dry months of August till October, for example. Okay, so we're just imagining, but this is what a typical overview sounds like, only two sentences. All right, now remember one thing. This is, again, a very common mistake that students make. Don't put any numbers in the overview. Overview is just to highlight, okay, this is increasing, this is decreasing, major changes, etc., but no numbers are needed. Numbers come in the next paragraph that we call body 1. Okay, in body 1, you're going to now start to describe all the changes happening, and now you're going to describe them with numbers. So you're going to say, okay, this was 10%, 20%, 5 centimeter, whatever. You're going to use numbers and describe the changes. After body 1, there is body 2, and it's the same thing. So once again, you're going to mention the fluctuations happening, the changes, increase, decrease, whatever. It's the same thing. And this time also, you have to use numbers. So now, of course, you might be thinking, what is the difference between body 1 and body 2? Well, the difference is in body 1, you're going to mention some points, and body 2, you're going to mention some points. But in body 1, these points are going to be more important. Body 2, these points are going to be less important. You are supposed to judge which one is important, which one is not. For example, if I'm seeing a chart, let's say a line chart, okay? There are 10 years in that line chart. 7 of those years are below 5%, but 3 years are above 30%. Okay, so this is unique, like the 3 years are unique. I will mention those 3 years in body 1. They're not only unique, but they also feel important because, of course, if the 7 years are simple, they're constant, then the 3 years would look very different on the chart. So I wanna mention that in body 1 with numbers. Okay, to give you a picture here, let's say again, I'm giving the example that 7 years on a line chart look like they're below 5%, and 3 years look like they're above 30%. So these 3 years, you will mention them in the overview first, that is the second paragraph. You'll mention them without the numbers. And then in body 1, you'll mention them again in different words. Make sure it's different words, shouldn't sound repeated. And this time you will mention them with numbers, with percentages, with centimeter, with whatever the chart shows. Don't worry, we're going to do an example here. We're going to pull up a bar chart and show you exactly what I mean by this. But I hope that gives you a good idea. Okay, moving on to our fifth paragraph. Now, this will confuse people because there's not a lot of people who say that we have to do the fifth paragraph, and that's true. We don't have to do the fifth paragraph. There's no rule in IELTS that says that. However, it's not a bad idea. It's especially a good idea if you are at 140 words and you need 10 more words. You can't find anywhere to say it, so you can definitely add a fifth paragraph. Remember, it's the conclusion, the fifth paragraph. It's not mandatory, so only add it if you don't have enough words, or if you feel that, if I add this extra piece of information, it might help my writing, it might look good, it might have a good ending. But never add the fifth paragraph if you are already at 170 or 180 words. That's too many words and we don't need the fifth paragraph. But let's say you guys want to do the fifth paragraph. The fifth paragraph is called the conclusion. Conclusion is simply one or two general sentences that sum up the whole chart. As the word says conclusion, it means you have to summarize the whole chart and show the examiner a general idea. This is where you will say, okay, everything is increasing in this chart, everything is decreasing in this chart, or maybe you could say there were only some fluctuations in 3 years, but everything else was constant. So yeah, it sounds very similar to the overview. Sounds very similar. However, in the overview, you will mention something in a more specific way. You will detail that a little bit, but in the conclusion, it's a very general thing, like an overall thing. For example, it's the difference if I if I relate it to a worldly situation. It's the difference between me saying that, okay, there are wars happening right now in this country, and this country. That would be my overview. But if I say generally that there are many wars happening, there are many wars happening would be a conclusion. Like it's a more general tone. So it's just a difference of tone between the overview, second paragraph, and the conclusion, last paragraph. Alrighty. So again, conclusion is not mandatory, it's not needed, but it's not a bad idea to do it. All right, I'm sure you guys are a little, of course, I'm pretty sure you guys must have understood all of it, but just to make sure we're not a little confused, we want to pull up an example here, which you can see on your screen now. This one here is a bar chart, and what it shows here is the unpaid hours per week. So this is maybe like voluntary work, okay? Unpaid work hours. So voluntary work, maybe these guys are working in schools, hospitals, whatever. You can see that the red one represents married women and the black one represents married men. Uh, on the horizontal axis, the one facing down, you can see the number of children all these married couples have. So there's the first one without children, second one with one or two children, and the third one with 3+ children. You will also see on the vertical axis that you have the hours. Those are the hours of unpaid work that these guys have. So you can definitely, pause the video to try to understand it for yourself, and I'll keep going in case you're not pausing. So what we need to do here is, number one, paraphrasing. We need to change the question. So let's see the question here. The question here says, describe the information presented below, comparing the results for men and women in the categories shown. Suggest reasons for what you see. Rephrase it. So your first paragraph is going to be, the chart describes the unpaid work hours for male and female, so sorry, let's say for married males and females with the different number of children. That's it. That's it. That is your first paragraph. Of course, we changed the question and we added some information. You can always add information. Never delete information, but always add information. So now that is your first paragraph. Now comes the overview. Okay, here you have to be careful because what people do in the overview is that they would say this. They say that married women have increasing unpaid work hours. So sorry. They would say that married women have more unpaid work hours than married men. Okay, this is the common overview. Married women have more unpaid work hours than married men. Why they will say it and why you will say it is because you can see that the red color is bigger than the black color. It's a very easy thing to see, but that is not what we need here. We need to say something specific, something that shows the examiner that you have analyzed the chart. So what you can say is when the number of children increase, the unpaid work hours for married women increase, but the unpaid work hours for married men decreases. Okay, now if I say that, it shows that I have looked at the trend. I'm looking at how this is changing, how the hours are changing with more children. And that's a good overview. Now, we're going to go in over body 1 and body 2, and you can do it in multiple ways, honestly. In this case, I'll give you the simplest way. I said in body 1 you put the things that look important, and body 2 you put the things unimportant. I'll put married women in body 1, and I'll put married men in body 2. Why? Because women have a bigger number of hours here. They feel more important, so put them in body 1. And I'll give you a little example of body 1. This is going to be the start. I'm going to say the married women without children were having 30 hours, almost 30 hours, whereas the married women with one or two children at least had 20 more hours. Now listen to this. I said they have 20 more hours. I'm not saying they have 50 hours. I'm saying they have 20 more hours. Why? Because I want to keep things different. I want to keep things interesting. I don't want to mention it as just, okay, without children it's 30 hours, with one or two children it's 50 hours, with 3+ children it's 55 hours. I don't want to do that. I want to keep it interesting, and that shows the examiner that you can do complex sentences. You can analyze, you can show your analysis here. So that helps. After saying this, I don't feel like I'm doing enough words. So maybe I can put a semicolon Or maybe I can put a bracket, and then I can say, um, at this point with 1 or 2 children, the number was 50 unpaid hours. Or I could say, making it 50 unpaid hours per week. Okay, now once again, as I go to the next one, I'm going to mention something interesting. I'm not just going to say with 3+ children, unmarried women have 55 hours. No, let's say it this way. Next sentence. Moving to 3 or more children, we can see that the difference in unpaid hours is not that much this time, with a mere 5 hours worth of difference, leading to married women having almost 55 hours of unpaid work. Okay, so now again, we're mentioning this in an interesting way. You can also notice that I am giving the numbers this time, and of course, I have defined the married women here. Body 2, in a similar fashion, I want to do married men. I want to explain them. And then in conclusion, you're going to say something general. If you need the conclusion, if you don't have enough words, you want to add something, not a new point, just something general, then you're going to say here in the conclusion something like this. Overall, married women have more unpaid work hours than married men. Okay, this is simple. This is a very general thing. This is what I started with. This is what I said in the start when I said that this is something you can see easily. You don't have to think about it. You can just notice it right there. And that's what a conclusion is all about. All right, guys, so there you have it. Play this video as many times as possible to see the 5 paragraphs again, because this is very important if you understand them. Number 1, paraphrase the question. Number 2, overview. Number 3, body 1 with numbers. Number 4, body 2 with numbers. And number 5 is your conclusion, which is optional. Okay? So we will be making some more videos on the other tasks. Stay tuned for that. Subscribe to my channel and like this video. And by subscribing, you're going to get access to all the other content, which will include the bar chart, line chart, pie chart, and a lot more. We're also going to be doing some videos on Task 2. So we're going to touch on the 4 main types of essays in Task 2. Plus, we're going to touch on IELTS General. And soon we'll be touching on different exams like CELBAN and CELPIP and so on. Guys, our company HZad Education is one of the top ones in Canada based on just these student reviews. If you Google our name, you will find it right away with our ratings, and you can also visit our website at www.hzadeducation.com. Links will be provided in the description below. We can set you up easily for our classes. What we always do is we offer our first class for free. It's going to be a 1-hour class. That is where we show you how good our classes are, how we teach, and then we also make a plan and a complete schedule for you. We're one of the few companies who work 5 a.m. till 2 a.m. the next day. So we keep working 7 days a week. Doesn't matter what your schedule is and what your country is, we'll get you a spot. It's not a problem for us. Same thing with the costs. We have some packages that fit people from different countries. We've had people from India, Nigeria, Australia, Canada, USA, Korea, every single place. And that's because we can match your currency difference and provide you a suitable cost. So all you guys need to do in order to receive these classes is go to HZadeducation.com. The link is right there on your screen. Once you are there, then just click the Contact Us tab and shoot me an email. We'll be able to set you up with one of our qualified, certified instructors and take you guys from there. One other thing is we guarantee your result. So if you fail, you get a money-back guarantee, and that's why there's nothing to lose here, but all win-win situations to look forward to. So guys, thank you so much for your time. I hope you learned something today, and we'll be talking pretty soon to you guys in the future, either by email or here on YouTube. Like and comment, and please don't forget to subscribe. Thank you and take care, guys.